Hello, welcome to the Blue Tweezers channel. Myself, Alan from the channel, as usual, and we are doing a playthrough here, solo playthrough, of a very new game, which I only got last week. Finally came through from the Spanish company NAC Wargames, and this is The Other Side of the Hill. I kick-started this and got some very nice extras, some wooden tokens here. There's an expansion which I'm not going to use as well, which gives you extra generals and a few other card systems to add on top of it, but we're going to keep it basic here. Yeah, looks really good. Quite a busy map, of course, as you can see. And so first things first, I'm just going to send some messages out for some reinforcements. And also, somebody in the chat can let me know if they can hear me and see the board okay. That'd be great. Eric, thanks very much for letting us know. It sounds okay. Got the same game on the table. Excellent. Another Kickstarter error. Wonderful, wonderful. So what we're going to be doing here, we're going to be playing the 1942 campaign. Main reason being is that the game starts off 1939 normally, and it takes a while to get going. And I thought, jump in the middle, get the action happening immediately. Yeah, for the video, I suppose, and show off the whole dynamic of the game rather than the sort of ramp up you get at the start of the game. So we are in summer 1942. If you're not familiar with the game, it is a competitive or cooperative or solo game on the German High Command in World War II. So you represent the generals, and you kind of fight the war. The Germans aren't going to do very well. It's, they'll do very well and then they'll fall back. And normally with the competitive game, it's all about prestige. It's this track here you use for prestige, which is getting one up on the other people controlling the generals. So you have your generals, they have theirs. Also, there's an agenda. Certain generals group together to have a sort of final victory objective, which doesn't necessarily match the players, of course. And then we, with the cooperative, you get rid of all that. You don't need all that stuff. You're just trying to survive the war. And then a solo is a version of the competitive, in which case you're controlling everything. So all that prestige, influence, rules are out of the window with the solo game. So we're not using any of those. And so what we have the board here, of course. We have individual zones here, which have between 2 and 3 sectors within them. And if you can imagine, it's a little stylized, so that zone is a part of the map. So these 2 zones actually represent France, and a little bit of that zone represents France as well. And the zones within it are particular geographical areas. Now, all of the zones, if you go from the right hand side, that's where Germany starts on the Western Front, and they will move through sectors. So if you like through Belgium and Holland, which is this space here, our marker is on the 3 box. So we started on the 1 and we conquered Antwerp and Calais. On the other side here, we kind of go the opposite. We go from 1 to 3. So if you like, we've conquered all of these spots in Ukraine, and we're actually over in Stalino in this spot, and this spot is disputed. As you can see, this has got a marker called occupied, so we have that whole area. Disputed is when there's a dispute between sectors here. So we're in Stalino, the Soviets are in Voronezh. Same down here between Sevastopol and Rostov. And also we have satellites, of course, so we've got Hungary, Romania, Bulgaria and Italy on our side. They are satellites, they work for us. These yellow markers are actually these Allied satellite armies. And of course we've got neutral areas, so Southern France. Actually, I'm missing a couple of counters here. France should be occupied, I think, yes. These two should be occupied. And that's Allied, and that's occupied. I think I missed off the alignment markers here. So because we have Vichy France, the southern France here is actually alignment neutral, and we've got a status marker here that it's Vichy. The rest of France and Belgium and Holland are occupied. So as you see, our marker is only on the number 1, Frankfurt. We don't actually occupy Marseille or Metz because of that's Vichy France. Spain's neutral, Turkey's neutral here, and in North Africa, North Africa, we have Egypt and Libya here, where the fighting is in Libya between Tobruk and El Agheila, and Egypt is all Allied owned all the way around to the Middle East and Iraq, Iran. Northern Africa is neutral because of Vichy, and of course Spain is neutral here. We have these 3 small boxes known as bases: Gibraltar, Malta and Crete. We occupy Crete but not Malta or Gibraltar. Yeah, there are various symbols on there. The most relevant one, I think, is the little red 3 or black 4 or a sort of bluish 5. That's the stacking for these cubes, and each of these cubes constitute an army of ours. So you've got a panzer army, which is black, regular army, which is grey, and a reduced army, which is white. And of course the yellows are the satellite armies, and they use different dice in combat. You can see. You don't see the cubes of the allies. They're represented by a card known as a combat card here, which will turn over and find out how strong they are. These markers here are to denote areas where there will be attacks from either side. Yeah, what else? Now, as far as the generals go, was 3 spots they can be in. So they can be in one of these boxes. As you can see, list is here. So any box which has 2 or more of our armies in has to have an army group head. So you can see here, here and here we have those generals, whereas say here we don't have one. Now we also have front controllers, so Eastern Front, Southern Front, Western Front, and that's denoted by the background colour. So the blues, the sort of mauve lilac colour, and the sandy colour here denotes the 3 fronts, and you've got a little dotted line in between. Now you can have an overall commander for the front. So for example, here we have Kesselring here, which is on the southern front, and we have von Rundstedt here, which is on the western front. The eastern front, we haven't had the cards played that allow you to put somebody there, so there is nobody for there at the moment. That's kind of like a blank space. Finally, the third place you can place a general is within a combat. So once you have a combat, you decide which of your generals is going to do the combat, either attack or defense. And these are the generals we have at the moment here. These generals here represent the overall commanders, the army group commanders and overall commanders here. So these are available generals, what they call available generals, to be in combats. You can only use them once a year. You get them back at the end of the year, well, at the beginning of the next year. We have 30. That's the maximum we can have. There are other generals available which are slightly off the board here, which come on as reinforcements if we need them. And we will then assign these generals on combat. They have specific capabilities in particular areas, in particular circumstance of attack or defense, and they give a sort of bonus to that. Also the army group head in that area also provides their bonus if relevant. They don't have to have a bonus or a bonus that is relevant to the combat. It's just whoever's there and who you've assigned. Because it's a solo game, you're trying to do the best you can. Within the competitive play, you tend to try and get your generals put into combats and as army group heads, so you can gain prestige for them actually being in battles, as long as they win, of course, as long as they win. Right, Jess, good to see you. Good to see you. Thanks for popping in. So, on top of the armies on the board, we have what's known as a force pool here. So this is available markers to be used, and we can upgrade a white to a grey to a black if they're available here, or we can place a white straight in. On this area we have what's the resources area here. So we earn resources from the areas around the board that have these little coal caddies, little containers on them, which add to our resources total. We currently start with 13, and we use those resources each turn to produce, as on a production table where you've got the scales for land replacements, air replacements, strategic war replacements, and then 3 things called directives. So directives are these cards down here, and with a military directive, this is like an offensive, so you decide which offensive you're going to do. At the moment, at the beginning of the year, you decide what cards you're going to play in this, be available for the year, and then you pick them during the year to enact them. So for example, here we have 4 offensives possible. We have Faulblau 1, so southern Russia, it's a sort of Stalingrad campaign into the Caucasus. We have Faulblau 2, which is a second go. We have Nordlicht, which is the conquest of Leningrad. Leningrad's up here in this disputed area. That's actually that area we're next door to. And there's a Sonnenblume Aida, which is an offensive in Libya or Egypt, so a North African offensive. We have political directives here. We only have 2 available here. And each of these cards has a cost, and the cost must be borne by the current makeup of these counters. So if you don't have enough resources available for the particular directives, you can't play the directives. So for example, these 2 are both one resource each. Faulblau is 3, Nordlicht 2, and Sonnenblume Aida 1. Then over here we have production directives, so this is technology kind of thing, or improvements, and we currently have 4 available. Particularly relevant is Project Tiger and Panther here. So we already have it on the project track. This is the project track here, and we need to get it to 0 using playing the card. And we need to roll a dice to see if it's successful. Once it is, then that goes on the year track as being completed. We get points as a solo game for the projects we complete. We also get it for what's known as festung areas. So festung areas are ones with this, it's probably pretty difficult to see, you can see it probably clear here, it's got the German cross emblem on it, so effectively it is the area next to Germany. The Allies don't actually kind of go into Germany exactly, but if we, for each of these holes, we get points as well. Couple of last things I think before we go. We have also air and naval control on each of the fronts. So not only do we have the overall command as possible, but we have this marker which slides up and down here, which shows air or navy capability on the front. We want it as high as possible, they want it as low as possible. We get an extra die in combat. We have at level 5, they do at level 1. And we can suffer casualties for the Luftwaffe here, and we use the Luftwaffe replacements up here to bolster these numbers. Currently we're only at 1 on the Western Front. There is one here for Germany itself, which is like home defence fighters, etc., and flak systems defending Germany as well. So there's those 4 tracks. And what was the last thing? Or was that the last thing? Yes, I think so. Okay, let's get going, shall we? If everybody's ready, we'll crack on. So we are on the administrative phase of the summer. The summer is these three spaces here. First one is administrative for each of the seasons, and in summer you get 2 operations phase. Administrative phase is this sequence marker going from there to there, and each operations phase is a marker going from there to there. And in this case, we'll do that twice between administrative phases. The next one being in the fall here. Hopefully, you'll be able to see the resolution here. It's quite a lot to fit in to the camera. It's there's a lot of game here, a lot of game. Okay, so starting at the administrative, the first thing we do is bombing of Germany. The way we deal with that is we look at the Germany air naval control marker here, and if it's in 5, there's no effect. So we've got enough fighters up to stop the Western Allied strategic bombers coming over. If this was in a lower level, then it would affect our replacements. So bombing of Germany, not a problem. We're on no effect because we're on level 5. Good. Next is replacements. Right, so we have our replacement points here. So there's 3 levels here. There's the Wehrmacht, the Luftwaffe, and the strategic warfare replacement. Strategic warfare is up here. That was the other thing I was going to mention here. It's a marker. It's a track from 0 to 4, although we can't actually get to 4 yet. We have 2 markers here. We have the strategic warfare marker. That means how many dice we roll. And we have a technology marker, which, wherever that marker is, that's the number of grey die we roll rather than white die. So at the moment, our strategic warfare marker is on 2. So we get 2 dice, one of which will be a grey dice. Okay, so we are looking for... where are we? We don't do strategic warfare yet. We are doing the... Sorry, we're doing the economy, aren't we? So I'm jumping ahead. So let's do the replacements for the Wehrmacht. So we have 3 replacements ready. So we could upgrade a white to a grey to a black, or put in a new white where we like. So these guys are a little bit denuded here. So I think what I'd want to do is maybe swap out a grey for a black there. They have to be in supply. They can't be isolated. These markers here, isolation markers, are used to denote that when effectively they've been cut off by the Allies, but we're fine. So that's 1 and maybe 2 whites here, 2 and 3. I think that's fine. Then we go on to Luftwaffe replacements. So we've used all those Luftwaffe replacements. There's 3 of them, and I think possibly we want to put 2 in the eastern front, maybe 1 in the southern front, I think, and leave the western front a bit quiet. Effectively, it's Britain is the only sort of area that we have to worry about there, but I don't think we have to worry too much about any landings from there. North Africa will be the focus probably for the rest of 42 here, as to how the cards work. There's a priority for the Allies. So that's our the replacements done. So for the strategic warfare track here, so let's strategic warfare track, we have 1. So 1 point, we can improve the strategic warfare token by 1. Okay. So now we've done that, the last thing we do is satellite replacements. Okay. So we have a Hungarian army we could bring in. It's available. So we roll 1 yellow dice. If we get a German symbol, he will come on. Anything else, and he won't. So that's a card symbol. So no, Hungarians don't appear. Right, then we go back to this production table and we reset the counters for our 13 points. We need military directives up to 3 because we want to do one of the Vollblau cards. So that uses 3 already. Production, we want to try and complete Tiger and Panther. So production needs to be on 2. Political directives, I'm not fussed. They're only one each, and they're not going to be helping us too much anyway, really. Consumer goods is 1. We are at maximum fanaticism here. This is a fanaticism track. The popularity, I suppose, within Germany. And if we shift it down, it starts to go down. If we shift it up, it'll go up. 1 is fine. Yeah, political structure there. So that's currently 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So at 13, that leaves us another 6 points. So I think we will need more troops. And more aircraft there. So that's 6. So our strategic warfare is going to hit 0 for the moment. But I think we'll live with that. Okay, that's our production table done. Now we do our directives. So we do production directive first. So we are going to play Tiger and Panther. So that takes us... yeah, that's right. That's our 2 production. It costs 2. So each of the projects, they will usually either just be free, or they'll have what's known as a development and advance value. The development means it's the number of times you have to succeed. You have to play the card twice, and advance is the dice roll you need. Now, the development is moved on to the track here. So this starts on the 1. So we've already done 1 success on this. So we're looking for the second success of 3 or more. So we get a dice to do that. And a 2, so that's not successful. Okay, we didn't complete the project. Political directives. So I think the only one that's worth playing really here is bribing generals. So this is an automatic, and effectively what it does is reduce unrest. So this is the cohesion within the High Command. This is represented by, we don't want it to get to 3. So we'll play this and it reduces it to 0. After playing this, we put it back in the general deck for political directives. So effectively every year we can play this again. So the political ones there. So we'll put that there. Right, so that's political's done, and finally it's military. So we're going to select Falblau 1, Conquest, Caucasus. That earns us 2 pawns. So these are our pawns here. And we can place them in areas 5 to 12. So 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So each of these 8 here. Now, so we could attack Leningrad with it, although we've got a specific card for that. We could attack Orel here, or we could attack Voronezh and Rostov. Now, what's this card supposed to get us to do? So they have objectives. The objectives are Maikop, which is here, and Stalingrad, which is there. So that's where the focus is. Now, if you get those objectives, you earn effectively points. Also, you can prevent the Soviets from counter-attacking in the Don-Volga area, which is this area here. Effectively stop Operation, what is it, Saturn, is it? I think it's Saturn. And you move them during the production table phase. Yeah, in the economy, yes. Yeah, so yeah, I haven't been that. That was a production table. I've forgotten to move the marker here. We're all the way down into military directive here. So once we've done the replacements, we can reset the markers. That's right, Eric. Yeah. Shouldn't move the production marker. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I was just counting it down. That's fine while I was putting the replacements on. But yeah, you should leave the marker there and just use them. But anyway. Right, so we are going to put a marker here and a marker here because we want to go this way to get to the objectives. So that's our military objectives done. I don't think you need to place the markers immediately, but I'm just going to do it just so it's all done. Okay. Right, so that's the end of our administrative phase. So we move on to the first operations phase here. Okay, so the first one that we deal with is strategic warfare. So we look at that marker. Strategic warfare marker is on a 3. So we get 3 dice, one of which will be grey. So 2 white and a grey. Now we will roll against the allies themselves, and we pick a combat card to see how many dice they're rolling. So if we pick this up and look at it, we look at the year, and we are at 1942, and the strategic warfare value icon here, we look down and it's number 3. So they're rolling 3 dice, 3 blue dice, which is the allied dice. So, and we've used that card. So it's their dice. Just getting these out of the way so we can roll these together. So we got a cross, flak symbol and a blank. They got card, star symbol and an air symbol. So we look to see what these mean for strategic warfare. The strategic warfare, an aircraft counts as a hit. So it's hit our strategic warfare 1. If the US is at war, which it is, US and the USSR are at war now in 1942, that's also a hit. So that's 2 hits. This is not a hit. However, that is a card symbol, so we will draw a strategic event card for that. Now we rolled a cross is a hit, a flak is no effect, and the blank is no effect. So they got 2 hits to 1 hit for us. So they've damaged us for 1. Now the 1 means we will either affect the strategic warfare marker down by 1, or the Germany air naval control marker down by 1. And I think we want to keep this at 5, so that will drop to 2. Okay. So that's strategic warfare done. That's all we do for that cycle. Then we go on to movement. Right. So movement is actually controlled by the air naval boxes here. It's how many armies we can move about. I think we're probably pretty happy with where we are. We have these markers out here, singletons here. The reason being that you've got these little fist symbols, which are partisans. So you're required to put at least 1 army in these spots. Same up in Norway, Denmark as well. We have a spare marker here. We could move it. Well, we couldn't actually move it into Libya because the maximum stacking of 3. So this is kind of a reinforcement waiting. We could bring it over to the Eastern Front, but I don't think that's a good idea. So we're not really moving anyway. There's 2 types of movement. There's movement within a front, and then there's strategic movement, in which you can move front to front, but you have to go through Germany first. And each move is a move. So you can hop, but it uses multiple moves. And the moves is the number of the markers on the air naval control here. But I think we're pretty happy with where everything is. Right, moving on. Okay, next is the command phase. So what we do in the command phase, and this is normally the head of personnel player, but we're every player as solo, of course, is we get to post heads of army groups in areas that are vacant. So any of the areas there has 2 or more armies needs an army group head, and I believe they already have those. So we haven't really got anybody to place there. We can also dismiss generals, but they have to be questioned. They have to be flipped over. Effectively, they've lost a battle or something else has happened. I just remembered I forgot to do a strategic event of the strategic warfare, so we'll go to the strategic events card and do that before we do the command and movement. So wind that back a little bit. We have Operation Cerberus, which I think is the channel dash. So what it says is roll 1 western die. The result is an aircraft. The air naval control value is -1. With any other result, +1 to that value. Okay, so we roll 1 dice, and we didn't get a plane, so therefore we get a +1 to that area. So that goes up to 2. So it's really good. Okay, and that's now discarded. Wind forward now onto movement. We've done the movement. We've done the command. There's no vacancies to fulfill. You'll see a vacancy because you have one of these markers in. No dismissals. So moving on from that, we get to the Axis offensive. So now this is when you place the markers, and well, I've played it already, so that's where we're going. And then we resolve combat in the order we want to do it. So let's look at the Black Sea area first here, Sevastopol to Rostov. Okay. So with resolving combat, the first thing we need to do is to pull a combat card. This is what are we facing? What are we actually facing from the Soviet side? So we've already seen one of those combat cards. It's one of these. We turn it over. We look in the Soviet area, which is in the middle, number 1942, and we look down the defense column. So 1942, it's got a sort of red lightning symbol, then an arrow, then a 3. So what that means is the lightning symbol means they preempt a hit on us, and then they roll 3 dice against us. That's the, hopefully you can see that, yeah. So they're going to hit us for 1 hit already, but we don't do it yet. We don't actually do that yet. Just making sure I'm not missing a phase here. So the next segment. Yeah, I haven't moved the marker on. We're in the axis offensive segment here. Right, so combat resolution here. So we revealed the combat card. Now we need to activate generals which participate in the combat. So 1 general. So definitely list will be there, and then another general can now be assigned to also fight. Now let's look at this general list. What's he going to do? Now he's over here because he's already been assigned. Wilhelm list is here. So quite a busy card here. So they have a seniority value that's between 1 and 10. So he's very high up. The year here he appears in the game, so he's been around since the start. That symbol is his agenda, which we're not playing in the solo, so we can ignore that. And this is a scenario marker to denote whether they're in particular scenarios, and also which side they join, the different, if there's a multiplayer version of the game, but don't worry about that again. What we're really interested in here is down here. So he has a combat ability which is on either front versus the Allies or the Soviets, and it's when there's an attack, that plane dive bomber thing is an attack against a rough area, so a dark area. So Rostov is a blue area, that's a river area, so his combat capability isn't relevant, so he's no help. Right, so what we want to do is the general assigned under him to actually fight the battle, we'd like him to be somebody who will fight good on an attack in a river area, blue. So let's see, here's one here, so Friedrich Paulus here. So he, against the Soviets in attack on a blue area, adds 1 hit to the exit combat dice roll. So effectively gives us an extra dice, which is a hit. He's pretty good. We have a few more. Rudolf Schmidt here would, on attack or defense, doesn't matter the terrain, it would actually cancel a hit, a star value on a combat roll. So he reduces losses, or makes it more likely we would win. Werner Kemp here, if there are 2 reduced armies in the combat area, roll a grey die instead of a white die. So we don't have that, but we could have that if we need to take that first loss that before the battle, that lightning symbol here. So he could actually be useful by effectively, even though it's a white, it's 2 whites, one of them counts as a grey. So he's also quite useful. I've got them arranged here, so there are Western, well actually it's slightly like that actually. The ones down here only have combat ability in the west. The ones in the middle have combat ability both fronts, and these are Soviet only. And I said before, you get to use these once per year. Now looking at this, there's some famous names here. So we've got Erich von Manstein here. So attack or defense on the Soviet front. I can change the result of any 1 die in the Axis or Allied combat roll for my choice. It's very nice. Could be useful. Bush here. Roll 1 grey dice. If the result is a hit, cancel the special effect in the combat card. Interesting. Interesting. Just looking through, I'm not going to read them all out. Some of them aren't really relevant because the terrain is wrong, or they only work in defence. He's defence. Lindemann works. He's defence. He's defence. He's defence, and he's defence. So they. Yeah. Some of these guys in the middle, defence. Reinhardt's not bad. Change a grey result, die result to a panzer result. That's relevant for plains areas, which are the green. A panzer dice roll will get you 2 hits, so he's not relevant. Hermann Hoth does the same. Lemelsen's defence, Mackinson's defence, Salmet's defence, Huber's defence, Vohler's defence, Harper's defence. Okay, none of those. Kleiss doesn't help us. So yeah, we have Lindemann plus the what was it? The 3 guys, 5 guys here. So I'm minded. There's Paulus here, which just gives us 1 hit. Or there's Kempf here, which gives us a grey die instead of a white die, if there's 2 whites. And Lindemann here, change 1 blank result for a hit result. So if we're rolling whites, this guy's really good. If we miss, and then of course we've got Ernst Busch here, which, oh, that's a defence only actually, sorry, he doesn't count. So these guys plus Manstein, so we can't prevent the early hit. I'm inclined to use Kempf, I think. Kempf. So we place Kempf in the activated general, so he can't be picked anymore. Way I've placed this isn't really part of the game. What you generally do is you have the board here and your available generals are stacked here. Actually it's just off the camera. But there's so many of them, it's just not practical, so that's why I've organised them over here. What we also do is we grab Kempf's marker here and we put it into the general markers box there. Right. Oh, hello. Oh gosh, we've got a very active chat suddenly. Let's just have a quick look. So, Nordic, good to see you. Good to see you. And Camp and Koi, good to see you guys. Thanks for coming along. Yeah, Tony and Ruff have been doing some Panzer stuff, so yeah, I mean, I'm in competition, so it gives you a bit of stress there, but you've come over anyway, that's fine. And so you haven't missed a huge amount, so we've gone through production of the first turn, and now we're into the actual combat here. Right, yeah, just Carlos. Yeah, Carlos, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, is one of the authors of the game here, which is brilliant to see. Thanks for popping in. Just checking that. I don't want to misname everybody, but can't see the credits here, so I think is the author of the game. So good to see you, thank you. Get the -1 difficulty. Yeah, I already have a -1 difficulty, so the project starts there, I think. So actually thinking about it, I didn't apply that. I rolled a 3, didn't I? I rolled a 3. No, I rolled a 2. That's right. And the difficulty was a 3. It's relevant actually. The advanced difficulty was 3+, so that becomes 2+. Right, so I said did actually succeed. So great, actually. Yeah, thanks for reminding me. So that has actually succeeded, Tiger and Panther. So that's completed. Right, sorry, back to where we were. Right, yeah, lots of chat going on there. So you guys keep going, and I'll keep playing. So we've assigned Kempf, haven't we? Yes. So Kempf is here. So we go back to the card. Activated. So we do the Allied combat roll. So we will need now to suffer the loss. So we will take the grey and return it to the force pool and replace it with a white for that hit. Now Kempf activates to help us, meaning that one of those whites becomes a grey for the right dice rolls, which is great. But the first thing that happens is the Allies roll their dice. So the Allied defender, if they're in rough, and they are not, they would get an extra dice. Is their Allied faction is defender and it is fortified or a landing marker, that's not the case. We look at the air naval control here. We're on 5 on the Eastern Front. That gives us an extra, what is it, white dice, I think. No, I think it's a grey dice, isn't it? But they don't get an extra dice. So let's roll the Allied dice. So it's 3 dice, 3 Soviet dice. Oh, quite nasty. Okay, so that is 2 hits with these 2 stars. Then the tank, it's not in a plain area, this is a river area, so that's just 1 more hit. So they hit 3 times. Ow. Okay, no air hits. So that's their roll. Yeah, so we've done their roll. Then we do the Axis roll. So what do we have? We have a black, we have 2 whites, but one of them is masquerading as grey because of Kempf. So white, grey. We have a yellow for the satellite army, and we have the black for the Panzer army. So if we just put those guys to the side there. But we also have, and I need to check this. Yes, we have an extra white dice because of our air superiority here. So 5 dice here. Now we've used Kemp's ability, and list doesn't help, so we're on the dice roll really. So what have we got? Okay, blank, that's a good start. So we have 1 hit here, we have 1 hit here because it's not a plains area, and we have a card symbol. So we are 2 hits versus 3 hits. So we didn't win. That's not good. That's really not good. Okay. So once we've done the roll, we deal with the event resolution. So we had one card which had a card symbol, that white dice. So we now have to pick what's known as a combat event. So not the strategic events which are here, but the combat events which is here. So this might be good. We never know. So let's have a look. Oh, no, it's nothing to do with us. The Dieppe raid. Roll a Western dice. If the result is a star, reduce 1 German regular army in any area on the map. Okay, so let's keep these here, and we roll blue dice, and it's an aircraft symbol, so that's not. So nothing. There's no effect on that Dieppe raid. It doesn't do anything. Okay, so cards done. Combat result. Okay, we are equal to or lower than the Soviet roll. So we have to apply a reduction. I think we'll provide that as a reduction. And flip the leading general's marker to its question side. Right, so this is Kempf. Kempf is now questioned. That's the leading general. Yeah. So List is not questioned. It's actually Kempf's fault. Okay. So there's no advance or retreat because we attacked and effectively bounced off the Soviets. It's not a good start. Really not a good start, because we need to get to Maikop, which is way over here, and we're still over in Sebastopol. We didn't take Rostov. Right, let's remove that pawn, and we move on to the next. Right, so we are in the Don-Volga area, and we have von Weiss in charge. Of course, the first thing we do is we pick the combat card, see how tough the opposition is. Oh, so this is worse. So it's a loss followed by 4 dice. Oh dear. Okay. Right. We need some big help here. So von Weiss, how good is he? Let's have a look at him. Oops. How good is he? So either front, if it's an attack into rough, he adds 1 hit. So again, he does nothing. These heads of army groups aren't very useful here. So, okay, well, so we're going to suffer a hit again. We are fighting into river terrain again. So we are back to picking our generals, and we have pretty much a fixed amount here, don't we? Yeah. So von Manstein, Bush is not irrelevant. These are the only attacking Soviet ones. These are Reinhardt and Hoth. No, not Hoth, but Reinhardt's available. Change a grey die to a Panzer result. Yeah, but Panzer doesn't do any better. Defense, 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 and these were all defense, weren't they? Yeah. Okay. So out of these 4, well, you can always play another general, but he's not going to have an effect. Schmidt gives us cancel a hit, a star result on the allied combat roll. That might be good. Paulus gives us a hit in addition. Lindemann, change one blank result for a hit. Not bad. And good old Manstein here, where we can change the result of one dice on either side. Let's go for Paulus, I think. Yeah, let's go for Paulus. So he is now leading general. And so first thing we do is we suffer a hit. And I think lose that. Okay, and they have 4 dice. So we add another Soviet dice. This might be painful. We do get, of course, still get the bonus white dice for the Luftwaffe here. Let's see what their roll is like. So 2 air hits, a event, and 1 hit. So, okay. So we should win this battle. We should win this battle. We've got 2 greys, a white, and a yellow, and then another white for the Luftwaffe. So we should win this. But with these, the Luftwaffe is going to take a bit of a battering. Okay, we have hit on the yellow, hit here, event, and the white flak. Just check what flak means. I think that's no. Yeah, only on the defence. Yeah, only works on the defence. And we of course have Paulus's 1 hit as well. So that's a hit, and we have effectively another hit because of Paulus. So that's 3 to 1. First thing we need to do is to deal with the combat events. There's 2 of them, maximum of 2 in a combat. If we'd rolled more dice with cards, card symbols, we'd only do 2. So first combat event, 20th Mountain Army. If the US is not at war, it is at war. If the combat is with a Western faction, it's not. Cancel 1 hit from the Allied combat roll in this combat. Yeah, okay. Well, so that gets cancelled anyway. Nice, but doesn't really help us. We're all winning anyway. And then roll a Soviet dice. If the result is a star, discard this card. With any other result, we recycle it. So let's get that last. Well, we'll roll that dice, shall we? Let's just form these up in the corners. That's actually been stopped now. And we're rolling the card symbol here. It is a star, so we have to discard the card. So 20th Mountain Army has been discarded. Okay, and the second one. We had a second. Hitler takes over the command of army group. If the USA is not at war, it's no. If there's only one German army in the combat, or the combat result is victory, then I think we immediately recycle it. I'm pretty sure that's the symbol. Yeah, combat event. So this is basically placed at the bottom of the current deck, so it could come back because the result was victory. So yeah, Hitler didn't really take over. He took over and then said, "Oh look, we won! Brilliant! Well done, everybody." It didn't no effect. If we were losing, that would have been a big problem. That card, I suspect. Didn't look into it, but you know, being that kind of paranoid. Right. So combat results. We have 3 hits versus their 0 hits actually now, but 2 air hits. So. Right, so we succeeded. Looking at the I think the air hits are applied to the front Luftwaffe. Okay, so the first hit, the first aircraft reduced that marker. The second one became a hit. So we actually are on 1 hit for them, but we have 3. We still win. Okay, so victory. We apply an advance. So we move the Allied control decks to the next highest sector. So we go from 2 to 3. So we're kicking them out of Rostov here. And we now occupy that entire area. Well, oh no, sorry, the wrong place. Wrong sector. Yeah, it's still disputed. So it's this one here. So we moved into Voronezh, and we are approaching Stalingrad now. Right, so we can advance in, and I see no reason why we would not, but it can only stack 3 here, so let's keep them all German. I think we'll leave the satellite army behind. No, keep doing it wrong, don't I? No, we're not advancing in here. Excuse me, I'm just getting confused between the areas. I keep focusing on the Black Sea, but it's done wrong. Okay, so we're not advancing across across a boundary here, so that's fine. So I think there's possibility of a bonus advance, I think. So, the activated head of army group may conduct an optional second advance if the sector is plains or river. Stalingrad is river, and it doesn't contain a landing marker. Right. In order to conduct this second advance, apply 1 reduction. So we could take a loss here and actually advance to Stalingrad. Sounds like a good idea. Are we going to do that? So take this off. This is risky because that army is now a bit weak, but I think it's worth taking it without having to fight for it, except for just having the loss. So good. Anyway, so that's that. Yeah, so we've done that. And yeah, that's our combats. So we've got to Stalingrad, but we haven't got to Rostov. So big failure here. We succeeded here. How are we doing for time now? We're on the hour, so we'll keep going. Good. So now we've done our active offensive segment. We have the Western offensive segment. So the first thing we check with the Western offensive segment. Okay, we have the possibility of landings. So we check the landing markers box, and there is a landing marker in it. Landing 1 marker in it. Is the season not winter? That's right, it's the summer. So we qualify, or the Western Allies qualify for a landing. So we do, or we normally do, draw a combat card, and we look at the landing section, which is down the bottom. We get the year, then we have a season and a priority. So we have a season of fall. So are we in the fall season? No, we're in the summer season, so it doesn't happen, so we don't worry about the priority. So no landing has taken place. Next, so we grab hold of the Allied pawns. So they've got a Soviet symbol on the top and an Allied symbol on the bottom. So we'll be using the Allied symbol. And we look at any area on which is shared between the Allies and us. So that's definitely one in Libya. So that's all the ones that we share. Now, if the over here, it's only the UK, Great Britain here, which has presence, Western Allied presence, and there's dotted lines here. So to get here or here, they would have to do a landing, and there were no landings. So nothing happens up here. There is no other sector where the Allies and us actually intersect. So there will be only one marker played, which is down here. And then we go through the combat resolution again. Right, so we pull out the combat card. For the combat, there's one combat here. We look at the Western faction, the year, and then we look for attack. Attack has a green aeroplane symbol and then an arrow with 2. So, getting this accurate. Here just looking for that symbol. I think I know what it is, but I just wanted to make sure. Here we go. So with that aeroplane symbol, we roll 1 Western combat dice for each of those symbols, and we subtract 1 air naval control in that front if at least 1 air result is rolled. And then this may affect, depending on where that moves. So we get a possibility of an air hit before combat, and then they're rolling 2 dice here. Okay. So again, we're going to activate generals here. Okay, so on the west side, we have Heinrich von Vietinghoff here, which can defend in rough. We're in El Alligator, which is rough. That's great. Our friend Erwin Rommel can certainly work as well. He can increase the German army types. He can make that black for the roll. The other thing about Rommel is if you use him and he wins, he's still available. He doesn't stay in the activated general section. He actually goes back to being available. We've got von Arnim here, which is yeah, he adds +1 hit to the Axis combat roll for every tank result. don't think we need... To be honest, I think we should play Rommel, because if he wins, we'll come back. And they're only rolling 2 dice, and we're rolling 3. So yeah, we're going to use Rommel. So I will put over here temporarily, and we will roll the combat roll for the allies. Pull these back now. We've had. First thing we do is we roll the dice for the possible air hit, and we do get an air hit. So that reduces to 3. Doesn't change the combat though. They've got 2 dice. So they've got 1 hit and combat event. What do we got to roll back? We've got 2 yellows. And we would have a grey, but Rommel upgrades it to a black. Okay. We don't have any bonus for the aircraft though. So that's their results. Looking good, looking good. So that's 2 hits and combat event. That'll do. Because he's only got the 1, so we're 2-1 at the moment. But let's look at the events. We've got 2 combat events to do. First one is loss of confidence. Flip the markers of the activated head of army group, if there is one. Oh, hang on, we don't have a head of army group here. I missed that. Okay, I've shortchanged myself here. Should have a head of army group here, which should I have used Rommel there? Not necessarily, not necessarily. But I think we do need to, because if we picked Vietinghoff or von Arnim, then their seniority, there needs to be higher seniority at the head as opposed to the leading general. So maybe we should put Rommel there. Yeah, why not? Why not? Yeah, we also actually have Kesselring here as the overall commander. Kesselring, he has an ability as well. So if he's in the command box here, roll 1 additional grey die instead of the white die. Okay, well we've still won anyway for rough terrain, so that's only on defence. So yeah, no, he doesn't count actually. So we put Rommel, let's get Rommel's marker. Put Rommel's marker there. Let's just wind back and then wind forward. And then possibly we would put Vietinghoff on Arnim. Maybe one of the other guys. General defence. Defence in rough. Yeah, he seems a good guy. This is Joseph Harper. So for each tank result, he subtracts 1 hit from the allied combat roll. I'll just do that. That's the so Irvin Rommel actually goes here as head of army group, and Harper was actually in the combat. Yeah, doesn't make any difference anyway. You know, so we get, you know, they become a 0 hit, but it doesn't matter. So loss of confidence. Flip the marker of the activated head of army group, so that would be Rommel. He gets flipped. And leading general to their question side. So Harper, oops, need to get his marker. Here's his marker. Oh, there it is, yeah. So he is also questioned. Now this would be bad. Well, it's bad for Harper. although he's a pretty solid guy. His red number is 4, so that's his effectively resistance to being questioned, to being dismissed. Loss of confidence. That was a pretty bad card actually. Rommel's very good because he's got a confidence of 6, so he doesn't suffer this stuff much anyway. So okay, right, where were we? Yes, second combat event. Second combat. In Hitler orders a counterattack. If the Axis is attacker, recycle the card, but no. After resolving the current combat, apply 1 reduction to 1 German army, then flip the markers of the activated head of army group and leading general to their question side. Well, we've already done that. So we will have a reduction, which is annoying. That's bad card again. So let's just do that actually before I forget. That's quite irritating. Okay, so we succeeded as the defender. So, because we won, nothing happens. We just stick there and that marker goes. So everybody's questioned, and we had to downgrade one of our armies because of the combat events, but the actual combat itself was actually quite good. Quite good. Artillery results grant a hit also in attack. Oh, yeah, sorry, I've missed that. Actually, no, so I read all this bit, but I missed the bit at the top. That's 1 hit as well. True, I thought it was 0 hits, but it's 1 hit. Right. So we've done the Allied Western offensive. Now we go to the Soviet one. Good. All right. So with the Soviet one, we place markers where there are disputes. So, hang on. What do I do with that marker? That should be a disputed marker. So we will place Soviet marker here. Place a Soviet marker here. A Soviet marker. So this is adjacent. So we need to place the marker here and one up here. So this is potentially the pain that's going to come back at us now. Right, so we decide which ones we're doing first. Let's get the pain over down the bottom first, I think. So we'll do Black Sea first. Okay. So we pull the combat card. So the combat card, so we look at the year, 1942, and we look at the attack column. Now the attack column doesn't have a number, and that means they're not going to attack. However, whatever other effects are going to happen. We have a snowflake, which I suspect isn't going to be affected because we're in the summer, and then a card symbol. So the snowflake is reduce an Axis army if it's winter. It isn't, so we get away with that. And then we have the yellow card symbol, which means pick a strategic event. So let's pick a strategic event. B-24 Liberator. The US is not at war. Strategic warfare is 0. Recycled, no. Strategic warfare value -1. Ow. So our strategic warfare has gone down to 1. That's not good. That's really not good. We've got another strategic warfare round to go through because it's a double operations phase in the summer. Okay, well that was a Soviet roll. No, sorry, that was, there is no combat. That was basically all the Soviets did. So now it's on to the next combat. So let's do here Don Folger. So combat card. 1942 attack, we have the dreaded lightning symbol and then a 3. So they are going to attack us this time. 3 dice. Let's get those out in prep. And they're going to apply 1 hit as well. Okay, so Von Weich's, does he help now? Would be nice. Von Weich's helps. That's on attack into rough, so no. Great. So we are reliant on our defence, Eastern Front defence. Now we do have a lot of quite good guys here. We are defending in Stalingrad, which is blue, so Hansen works. Subtract 1 die from the Allied combat roll. That's not bad. Yeah, actually. Well, we've got Hollet here, who 1 grey die instead of the yellow dice. That's quite good as well. Yeah, we've got some good defenders here. Well, if we're feeling brave, we have Volta Modal here, who can cancel any special effect in the combat card, so that loss gets removed. So not sure really. I think we're using Hansen because it's river. It's river capability. So we subtract, so it's only 2 dice they're rolling. Yeah, we'll use Hansen. Hansen, there we go. So we use Hansen. I didn't put Paulus's marker in, did I? Yeah, sorry, he should be here as well. Right. And then what to... So we would be rolling 4 dice here. Now we could... I can't actually replace that with a white. We've run out of white, so we have to take the white away. So they are now rolling only 2 dice because of Hansen. He removes 1 of their dice. And we will get 3 dice. Two hits, ouch. Okay, we get 3 dice. We get a yellow, a grey, and a white. 2 hits. It's a draw. It's a draw. But we are defending. Oh, how about... No, we don't get anything for Stalingrad, do we? No, we don't get... It's not in rough. So... Okay, we either have to... We have to either retreat or apply a reduction. So I think we'll do that. Apply a reduction. The reason I'm not taking the yellows is if you actually take the yellows off, they don't come back. So you want to preserve them if you can. Good. So that, I don't think anybody gets sacked for that. Only if we retreat, if we do a retreat, the head of army group would be questioned, but we didn't, we just took the loss. So it was a big fight and nothing moved. We took 2 losses with that. You can see why the replacements are really useful up here. You really can take a lot of losses here. Right, so that's done. Over here we have the attack from Orel to Smolensk. Smolensk is another river. Okay, let's pull their combat card. Right, so 42. We just have a winter symbol. It's not winter, so absolutely nothing happens. remove the marker. And then up in Leningrad, so Novgorod is rough, so that's cool. We should get an extra dice for that. And look at the combat card. 42. We do have an attack here, a loss and an attack. Okay. Right. We will get that extra dice, won't we? Yeah, we get an extra white dice for defending in rough in Novgorod. They had 3 dice attacking plus a loss. So we could use modal to cancel that special effect, and then it's their 3 dice versus us 3 dice. Got Heinrichi here, which is reroll up to 2 dice on our roll, and then we choose the result. That's very nice as well. We got a reroll 1 dice in rough. He's not relevant. One dice. We roll a grey instead of a white. I kind of like Heinrichi for this. Yeah, let's use him. So he's been used up. Heinrichi. Okay, so we got the 2 rerolls. Good. So we take the loss. So again, we have to lose this guy, which is annoying. So we only get 2 dice to roll. That's not good. However, we get to re-roll them and then take the best results. So, okay, they've got 3. Oh no, we've got an extra white, haven't we, because of the rough. So we got 2 greys and a white. Anyway, a white because of the rough, and we get 2 re-rolls. So let's roll Soviets. So an air hit, an event, and 1 hit. I think we'll be able to deal with that. So in defence, that's 2 hits, I believe, because we've got our assault guns, which were already completed. I believe that gives us 2 hits. Yeah, we get 2 hits for that. We get an event, and we get a hit anyway. So, but we re-roll. I'm inclined to roll the event one because you never know what's going to come up. So just that dice. It's only only 2 of our dice, but I'm only going to re-roll 1. I'll re-roll this one. Oh, it's a card anyway. Okay, let's do the 2 cards. How are we doing in the chat here? Yeah, you're still chatting away. I'll leave you to it. Soviet counterattack. If the Axis is attacking, no. Randomly choose one area in the Eastern Front with a disputed alignment marker controlled by the Axis and adjacent to an area controlled by a Soviet. Apply 1 treat in that area and flip all heads of army group in that area to the question zone. Brilliant. I don't want to move any of them. I'll be honest, suppose it has to be here. Apply 1 retreat and the heads of army group in that area question. So von Kufler. Oh, I forgot to look at von Kufler, what he did. I've been so disappointed with people who've cancel the special effect in the combat card for defense in rough. So actually we shouldn't have suffered for that. But anyway, he's now questioned. and we've had to retreat. Unrest +1 as well. So, and then discard. So then put it for next year. So, yeah, it goes up there. So that was a first card. Second card, I hate these cards. Right, Lend-Lease to the USSR. Not at war, no. It's not combat with the Western faction. Roll 1 Western dice. That's a star. The result is a tank or an aircraft +1. No. So that doesn't happen. So they didn't, Lend-Lease didn't have an effect. Okay, now we get to the combat. These two guys are done. We have an air hit. Then we win the combat. So we don't retreat. And there's no effect. Except there was an effect because of that Soviet counterattack. So, brilliant. It's going so well. Okay, that's last Soviet attack. Phew, got rid of that. Military directive objective check. So, have we got Stalingrad? Yes, we do. Do we have Maikop? Not even close. We haven't got the objective. Supply check. That's fairly straightforward, really, because everybody's on a sort of front basis here. Nobody's cut off. North Africa, we have naval supply here. So, supply's easy. Victory check. No, we haven't won. So, round to the second operations phase. Right. How are we doing now? This is an hour and a half. So actually it's probably a point to stop. I'm going to come back to the game, possibly even tomorrow, and play on, but I think we'll stop it there. Hopefully you guys have got a bit of an idea on it now, particularly playing solo. Yeah, I think in the game, it's a fairly new game to me, and of course with all these generals with special abilities and stuff, it's difficult to know which one's the best to pick. You're kind of filter through them. But anyway, we're doing okay. A bit worried about the strategic warfare. Bit worried about the southern Russia here. We have some questioned generals. And yeah, we're okay. Okay, North Africa at least. That's something. So yes, we're on to the second operations phase in the summer. And we'll get to that. Quick check on the chat. How's everybody getting on? Yeah, Eric, thanks very much. And yeah, Nordic, have a good evening yourselves. And thanks everybody for joining in and having a look and having a bit of a chat while I sort of stumbled through the first turn here. But yeah. Good stuff. Well, hopefully you can join me. I say possibly tomorrow. Not going to absolutely swear, but it may be early during the day. It's a Saturday, so I'm going to do it probably sort of late afternoon, early evening kind of thing. Don't want to clash with Ruff and Jester on the War Room, so I'll do it a bit earlier if I do it. But watch out on Twitter or Facebook or on the channel, and I'll hopefully see you then. But until then, thanks for popping in, and see you soon. Bye for now.